Hey, welcome back, y'all. It's been a lot of talk, and I already did a show on this a while back, a year ago, about the whole thing with Deshaun Watson and the situation that happened in Houston, and then the situation with the sexual assault sexual assault, 22 women. Like I said, it came from out of nowhere. Nobody seen that coming. Normally, it's a behavior thing that goes on. I mean, I know things could be unsaid or whatever. And, of course, not getting indicted and all these other different things is going on. You could best believe Cleveland have done their research and everything like that for him to garner the type of contract that he's gotten. You think about it, with someone like Watson, now here's somebody in the 2020 season, they go 4-12. They gutted that team. No DeAndre Hopkins, no J.J. Watts. When he has something around him, and they go 4-12, this guy completes 382 balls out of 544 attempts, a 70.2 completion ratio. Think about it, led the league in passing that year, 4,823 yards, 33 touchdowns, and only 7 picks. And he goes to Pro Bowl, his third straight Pro Bowl, starting from 2018, 19, 20. He doesn't get hurt his rookie season. He doesn't get hurt his rookie season. That'd probably be 4 straight Pro Bowls. Pro Bowls don't mean a whole lot to me, on more how they do it, but he's definitely one of the guys that would actually supposed to get that and whatnot. He's one of the players that do that. He's a dynamic player. He's been since his high school days, going back to his high school days, as well as going back to his Clemson days and winning a national championship. It's unfortunate those things happen. And a lot of people are saying things about saying things about, I think Rich Eisen said like a funeral at his press conference with Cleveland and all. You know what? I don't really care about that. What I want to know is if he's going to be pop with anything. Will he miss 6 games? Will he miss a substantial amount of time? You do have an extra game, and that's a lot as far as you trying to get in the playoffs and this, that, and the other. Cleveland has a lot of talent over there, both sides of the ball, and he should make some noise. He should be a town favorite, and a lot of people are coming after him and stuff like that. But one of the things I think that's most disheartening about the whole situation is that if it's coming down the pike now, it's getting more and more things coming on and things are coming out. What if this young man, what if nothing like this really happened and all of the things just get dropped and it didn't happen? That means they drug this man's name through the mud, had him miss a whole year of football, which is a good and bad thing. It's a good and bad thing, but at the same time, it's good for the fact that he's able to play football and he got a year of rest, right? Because the game is brutal. But he was a year out of football, and his name was dragged through the mud. That's the bad part about it. And could he ever get that back? Got rape crisis centers coming in there saying all this other kind of things about him. So what's going to happen? Say, all that stuff is what it is, and it's not that. Meaning that it didn't happen, because that's kind of like that's where it's going. And I've said this, and people ask, "Oh, I mean, you a conspiracy theorist and all this other kind of stuff." It's like, it's really not about being a conspiracy theorist. It's like this guy, certain guys have a track record, and they have their track record starting back from high school, definitely in college and whatnot, where it's like, well, that's like minor league pro ball in college. And you get this, you get the limelight, you get this, you get that. You get a lot of different things going on in college football with success. And nothing is said. And guys come out there and they do what they have to do. And they have a reputation for being an a-hole or messing with girls and doing whatever it may be. But I think one of the things that I want to speak about a little bit, I'm going to touch on it a little bit, and this is really not my forum to do this on insofar as I talk strictly football. But say none of this stuff sticks, which it may be looking like that because I can't see Cleveland. Watson's contract is monumental. You're talking about somebody getting $230 million guaranteed. guaranteed, as they say, as the chef in Louisiana would say. You're talking about a $44,965,000 signing bonus, $230 million guaranteed on an average of $46 million a year. Base salary $1.35 million and a signing bonus of $44,965, which while hitting a cap of $10 million, 28, and a dead cap of $230 million. Now, what happens, and this guy's only 26 years old, he's just scratching the surface. Dynamic player. Dynamic. But, so if all this stuff doesn't stick, what happens with what happens with these girls? What happens to those women? They just go back to their lives? Because, like I said just a few seconds ago, about the conspiracy theory thing. I told you guys go back and look. A year ago, I told you guys. I said when they got rid of D-Hop, he was done. Because that just showed over the past 3 or 4 years what the Texans was not doing. And he got fed up with it. He said, I'm tired of it. Could he handle it a different way? Probably could have. But he didn't do anything really that crazy. But at the same time, he said what he said and stuff like that. But it's like, that's not the issue. The issue at hand is the fact that you are gutting a team. And what do I have to play with? And that showed going 4-12. But yet leading the league in passing and threw 33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. So he did his part. His part was done. As that of you'll find a guy, I'll take for instance like a guy like a Joe Thomas, who's a bona fide Hall of Famer, tackle to play for the Cleveland Browns. As god awful as those teams were, that guy was a Pro Bowler, All Pro, regardless of what went on. He did his job and he did it. And that was that. Probably could have played longer, but he knows that franchise ain't gonna do nothing. At the time anyway. Great point for him to sit up there and do what he's doing now. And it's like, yo, look, it's like, so what happens to those what happens to those women who accused him of doing that? Because I really don't see that going on like that. Because now he went from nobody with nothing on him to being a serial groper, rapist, sexual assaulter, and all of that stuff. Because I don't see Cleveland. Cleveland did their homework to even give him that amount of bread. Because the guy can play. But they're not going to sit there and give bread to somebody that's that. Because I was telling a partner of mine, I said, yo, look, man, I said, shit, I thought he was going to probably go to Indianapolis. That would have been a nice fit for him. You got Jonathan Taylor back there. Maybe not the wide receivers. I mean, you got, T.Y. Hilton. He's kind of on his last leg. Just due to injuries and whatnot. A couple receivers over there, but you got Taylor over there, and you got a stout defense. So you got some things to work with. I kind of thought he was going to go over there. But I also think, from the conspiracy part, the Indianapolis, rape, Mike Tyson over 30, almost close to 30 years ago, the stuff that happened, they probably said, we don't want to touch that, or whatever, we're going to leave that be, because it's enough stuff with Irsay and all them other guys. That's probably why they didn't touch him. But Cleveland, like, man, we go and take, and they did their homework on him, and they didn't see anything, so they got him, they signed him, or whatever. And it's probably we just don't know about it, but you're not going to sign a guy to a $230 million contract for 4 or 5 years and give him almost $45 million $45 million signing bonus, and they don't know the ins and outs of what's going to happen in court, what's going to probably happen between the lawyers, attorneys, and in the civil cases and all this other kind of stuff like that. So you're not going to give them that kind of money if you don't know that, hey, man, that stuff, was like, yeah, it is what it is. To the point where I'm not giving nobody that money if I think that person is, if that person is guilty and will bring shame on the organization, and we don't need that cloud over us because we got enough crap going on because we underachieved last year in the 2021 season. We underachieved, and the Cleveland and the Browns did. They really underachieved, and that's why Baker Mayfield is in no man's land, and they thought he was going to go to thinking that he's going to probably go to the Colts, and that's not it. They got Matty Ice, gave him a breath of life and whatnot, and so I found out that that's something deep right there within itself. But so what happens? Will there be an apology for those young ladies to sit up there? If this thing's come out to be that he didn't do that, who is going to sit up there and apologize to the man for dragging his name through the mud and his reputation, and it was false? I still say the Texans brass had something to do with that. Ironically enough, he said what he said, and then all of a sudden this stuff comes out. Don't think for 1 minute that can't happen. We'll drag his name through the mud. I got stuff for him. I got something for him. I'm gonna drag his name through the mud. And look at what the Texans did. So again, those are the things that I look at. And it's not fair for someone like him to have to go through that. And someone someone of his stature, or someone of always been known as an outstanding kid, and all of a sudden he's a serial rapist. You can't say things like that don't happen, or don't have incidents like that does happen. I'm just not thinking it has anything to do with him. And I think, so if it happens for lying, what's going to happen to those 22 women? Is anything going to happen to them? Will they go to jail for lying in court? Will they go in jail because what you're doing that's police work. That's detective work. And that's something that they took time, put money off into to go and investigate, which is work. And whatever those guys' and girls' salaries are and whatnot, and all of a sudden it's a big fat lie. And what you're going to say, I'm sorry, but they're not going to say they're sorry because nothing's going to happen. They will go back to their remedial jobs, whatever they was doing, masseuses or whatever the hell they were. And whatnot. And nothing's going to happen to them. But something should happen to them. Their asses should be thrown in the pokey. Period in the story. Or their name should be drugged through the mud as they're this, that, and the other. And should have that tagged on to them being a liar. So anytime they try to apply for a job, that shit should be held over them. Instead, you won't even know who they are. One or two of them here and there. And that's not fair. It's not fair to him as a young man, first and foremost, and then that of a player in the league who was in his prime right now. So that's something to look at. But I'm happy that he's able to hopefully see him play again. It was a shame not to see him play, but it was great that he got out of Houston, because that obviously that franchise didn't give two squats about him or that city when it came down to winning in the first place, as far as I'm concerned. Okay. You guys smash that button. Smash that like button. Share. Got any questions, any comments? Leave them down at the bottom. To one of my subscribers, my man Hoghead Cheese. No, I didn't think for 1 minute that Tom Brady was going to retire. The game, he's mastered the game. They can't intimidate quarterbacks. They can't beat them up. They can't do this. They can't do that. So, of course, he wasn't going nowhere. Brady's going to play until he can't play no more, until a team finally just basically tells him, dude, we're not paying you. Let's say I'm talking about paying him about $1 million a year, and he takes that and whatnot, because he is 44 and he eventually is not going to be playing. So we'll see what happens. Anything may happen. He might retire again. Something may happen, but yeah. It was no doubt in my mind. When they say, I said Brady's not retiring because he didn't like the way it ended. He won the Super Bowl, that'd have been different. But the way Brady looks at it, my tackle was missing. I didn't have my wide receiver. They were up 20 points on us, and we still came back and only lost by 3 points. That leaves a bad taste in anybody that's a competitor's mouth. And if I was full tilt, everything was straight, and we didn't get such a slow start, etc., 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 we could have got him. Okay? Like I tell you guys all the time, there is no GOAT, there's no greatest of all time, as long as time's still going on. And I tell you guys all the time, numbers don't lie and get emotional. People do. You guys have a good one. We holler at you later.